This is a short video about the horse stance. So it's mentioned in a couple times in the manual. The horse stance is not nearly as important as the combat stance. Combat stance, of course, we have one foot back, we have our hands up, our legs are bent, and we're ready, right? The horse stance is a traditional martial arts stance. One of the things that I learned in many years of martial arts is that some arts have you practice a lot of things that are impractical, and the horse stance has been thought by many people to be kind of the ultimate in impractical techniques. And actually there is some application, and I think some important applications of the horse stance. So let me show you what it is. I'm not going to show you a traditional horse stance. Traditional horse stance, at least the way I learned it, now in some styles it's a little bit more reasonable, but the way I learned it was your legs are wide, your feet are pigeon-toed in, and I'm sure that contributed to many of the knee problems I've had over the years. It's really an awkward, uncomfortable position. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust that traditional horse stance position, and we're going to flare our feet out, and that is a more natural position for the knees. So what we do is we get wide with our feet flared out a little bit. We bend at the knees. We try to keep our back straight. And I believe if I'm not mistaken, this was one of the exercises I showed you in one of the fitness videos. And in that, we were putting our hands out for balance so that we could lean back more like we were sitting in a chair. Not so concerned about that, but as far as fitness, yeah, it's great for fitness, and it's good to do this because it will help you build stronger legs, it will help you with kicks, it'll also help you go low when you need to go low. But what is it used for? So we went over the V-step, where somebody is coming at me straight on and I go off to the side, but I go at an angle. Okay? Essentially, when I'm doing that, so from my ready stance, and the thread is coming right here, and I step out and slide in, essentially I'm in kind of a shortened horse stance. Not a real wide one, but I'm in that stance. Now, why bother with a horse stance? Because if you practice it, again, it helps build up the muscles that you need for a lot of different things, but it also kind of makes you instinctively, when you step out, well, my thread appears to be Bane. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but he's right there. So I'm going to do a horse stance. I'm going to go a V-step to his right, to my right, and his left. So I'm here, and I drag, and I'm back in that horse stance. Okay? If I go this way, boom, I'm in that horse stance. So here I step out and just turn, and I'm in that horse stance again. So by practicing the stance itself, not only for fitness, but it kind of ingrains that idea of getting low, of keeping your knees bent, because one of the things that people tend to forget if they, when they're first learning the combat ready stance, they get their knees straight, and that's terrible because you can't move fast, and if somebody were to kick you in the knee, it would blow that knee out. So we keep our knees bent, but then when we move, we tend to stand up, and what we want to do when we move is stay at the same, our heads stay at the same height. That means we're bending our knees, we're not bending over like this. So that's one of the good things about the horse stance. The other thing is that when we start doing grab defenses, there are a lot of grabs when somebody latches onto you. If you can unbalance that person, then you can either throw them or trip them, or it just helps anytime they're unbalanced. They have a harder time hitting you if they're out of balance. So one of the ways that we can use the horse stance is unbalancing somebody. If somebody grabs me, I can go into that horse stance, boom, and immediately that shifts his weight. I can do that if somebody grabs me from the back, boom, and I can step out, get low, and then all of a sudden if he's holding on to me or holding on to me, he's like this. If somebody's in the front, if I step down like that, this is what happens to him if he's holding on to me from the front. So it's useful for getting low very quickly, for shifting your weight. It's not ever a good stance to be in to try to strike. We spent many hours in karate striking from this stance, and then when we would spar, nobody in their right mind would get in that stance. So it was pretty useless activity other than just building up the legs. So this is not a fighting stance. This is a transitional stance. Transitional when you move, transitional when you are shifting weight so that you can unbalance that person that's got a hold of you. So try it, practice it. Remember to get those knees out like that, the feet, which will place less stress on your knees. Depending on how your feet go, you might be more comfortable with your feet toed in just a little bit, or you might be more comfortable with your feet splayed out more. Doesn't really matter. Just find a place where it's not putting pressure on your knees, and sink down into it and practice that. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.